We Make Movies Film Geeks podcast, episode number 61. Welcome to the We Make Movies podcast, making the world a better place, one film at a time. And now, here are your hosts, otherwise known as the director, the actress, and who the hell is that guy? Chad, Michelle, and Garrett. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another We Make Movies Film Geeks podcast, the podcast that's all about how to get your movie made, how to get it seen by other people, and how to get it awesome. Again, with the inaccurate intros, this week we have me, as always, your faithful host, Garrett Robinson, and not quite as always, we have faithful co-hosts Michelle Lucadou.
Well, hello, everyone.
And this week we have Sam Mestman, one of the founders and still the, I guess, the CEO of We Make Movies. What's your official title? I don't know. The boss man.
I don't know about any of that, but somebody's got to do it. I'm that guy. I'm the guy everyone complains to.
Sam is the guy everyone complains to. He is the group's personal complaint box. Oh, crap. My thing says I'm you right now. Let's see here.
You're not
fixing that real quick. No, I'm definitely not you.
I broke some things, I think.
No, it's fine. We just are both in the same account because I always broadcast from your account because you have the account. See, you're the boss man. You have the account that runs the whole channel. So when I, do the thing, it shows up as you.
I screwed up all kinds of things. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's all good. We begin as... Oh, yeah, so Sam... might as well explain that. Sam is here filling in for Chad, who is away off on other business, as we discussed last week. So welcome, Sam. Good to have you here.
Thank you, Garrett. Happy to be here.
Well, blah, blah, blah. And wait, there's more. So we begin, as always, with community news, and we like to start off by asking whether you are an audio listener or a watcher on the YouTube channel, please pop over to iTunes and rate the show. Ratings help us get discovered in the iTunes store. It helps us. It helps iTunes figure out what other shows we relate to, and it really helps with the visibility of the show. So, if you can,
and it also just helps with my ego.
It definitely helps with the ego. In fact, Michelle, while we're you have the first news item, so I won't ask you to. But once you start, I'm going to pull up iTunes and see where we're at ratings-wise.
Ooh, very exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to actually switch the order. No, I'm not.
Don't complicate it. You're going to delete one of our segments again.
I know. I accidentally deleted a segment. Hi, everybody.
Hi. Well, first, though, really quick, also in community news, this week it's listed in here as the Writers' Workshop, but it's not. What are we doing this week, events-wise?
This week is improv night. It is very exciting. It is not like an improv sketch night. It is an improv night. So you just show up, and you get to get your improv on for free with wine, and then there's a winning group, and you get some kind of fun, ridiculous prize that is completely useless, that has no monetary value.
Huzzah!
Yeah. It's very exciting.
Those are the best prizes. Those are the prizes.
Time is had by all.
So come on by to the Theater Asylum in Hollywood at 7:30 p.m. this Wednesday. Meet the community, have some fun, etc., etc. And now we move on into general news items. And Michelle, you're first.
Except for first, I'm just going to let you guys know that if you are listening live, we encourage comments. Tell us things. Like comment on why Sam Messman looks like he's looking off into the distance, things like that. Or he looks like he's, I don't know, pensive. I don't know, ask us questions. We love questions. Any kind of questions, other than how old I am, because I'm not going to fucking ever tell you that. So, speaking of old, I have some really sad news that I found out about actually like an hour ago. One of the most brilliant actors I have ever had the honor of sharing the stage with passed away yesterday. His name is Bernie Vaughn, and he was a pillar of the Chicago theater community. He was everything, and one of the most talented men I have ever met in my life. And I got to do Singin' in the Rain with him back in 2005. It was a long time ago. But anyway, he has made a very solid career of acting, just acting, but acting very well and being a really great and yeah, really talented and really awesome and really sad. He was 50 years old. He just turned 50 and was just in a random car accident and passed on. So yeah, check it out if you don't know who Bernie Vaughn was. Check him out online because he's one of the greatest entertainers of our era. So yeah, that's my sad news item. Sorry to start it off on a note.
Yeah, way to start it off on a downer. That's too bad. Well, definitely go check them out, guys. Sam, you've got general news for us.
General
Hopefully
news.
happier. Don't be sad again.
It depends on whether you like online content. But basically, last week we officially launched our We Make Movies daily blog series, I guess. So we have 5 writers, each posting a little bit of a column every single day of the week. That is not a weekend. And so there are 5 columnists. I'm one of them. I have We Make Movies Whiny Wednesdays with me. And then there's our own Chad Kukihiko and Eric Altman doing tech and trade stuff. Valentina's B is doing stuff. Eric Kochmer is doing pretentious Criterion Collection reviews. That's actually the name of the column. That's true. It's actually.
I love Kochmer.
And our own Michelle Lucadou is doing Fuck It Fridays. So for actors, where I think. So those are going up every single day. So there are, as with all the other things that we do, there is new and exciting reasons to check out our website, which is wemakemovies.org. And we got new columns. That's what I got
If you're not checking out the website already, I mean, the amount of stuff that's on there in terms of resources for filmmakers, it's pretty sick, guys. So definitely pop in there. Subscribe to the newsletter as well. If you subscribe to the newsletter, you get a free copy of the We Make Movies Filmmakers Survival Guide. And you get updated on everything that's happening in the community. There are casting notices, actors, paid casting notices, paid crew notices. There's all kinds of stuff, and you really need to pop over to wemakemovies.org, which, as Chad mentioned in a recent show, has been completely redesigned and is fucking beautiful. It's awesome.
It is beautiful. I will say it is beautiful. And also, if I may just note, everybody sounds, I mean, like, not to digress, but I do. Everyone sounds a little hotter on the podcast. Everybody has like a lower voice. Sam, you're like rocking this like gravelly.
I'm doing
is this something that you guys do?
White thing.
Is that like so Garrett and Chad, especially Chad, he's like,
I talk
it's
deep.
hot. It's like
I've been doing a lot of audiobook narration and also like video presentation. So my voice has been well worked in the last couple of weeks. It's just going to keep pretty soon. I'm just going to get on here and it's just going to be.
Let me tell you about digital distribution.
There's a joke in there somewhere about your well-worked voice.
All right, I will jump into my first general news item. I finally saw Guardians of the Galaxy, so right now I have almost repaired my perfect record of seeing Marvel films in theaters. I haven't seen. I never saw Captain America 2. I'll never get that back. But it's coming out.
Bad.
I know. Everybody's like, it's the best single superhero movie. It's better than Iron Man, and I know they're wrong about that because Iron Man was the best, but I really want to see Captain America too. Guardians, however, was awesomely epic. It's fantastic, and despite not coming from a previous franchise other than just the Marvel logo, I can totally understand why it crushed Transformers in the domestic box office. Because, see, Transformers suffered from a handicap in its marketing and distribution.
That it sucked.
In that, namely, 80% of critics and
Amen.
50%
That
of
is
audiences thought it sucked major donkey balls. Sam, if you read my segments, you won't jump ahead of my jokes and kill my punchlines.
I'm gonna start reading. I'm sorry, Garrett.
Okay.
I was,
Yeah,
I'm new to this.
According to Rotten Tomatoes, 80% of critics and 50% of audiences thought that Transformers was the worst thing ever. So Guardians comes out of the gate and just crushes it. Guardians hit all of the right emotional notes, had awesome character development, and still brings CGI and action scenes that are like as good or better than anything Michael Bay offered. And it had a surprisingly gritty element to it that has been missing from a lot of Marvel films, in that, like, a lot of people died. Like, we're talking galactic war and battles between space civilizations, and they didn't mind showing you that, no, like, a lot of people are actually dying right now. Whereas in, like, Thor, it's like, you know, space creatures come to Earth and knock down buildings, but all you see is people, like, escaping the falling debris, and they don't the fact that, no, like, hundreds of people died when that building fell down. Guardians was like, no, see that dude? He's dead. She's dead. That alien over there, fucking dead. And you were like, whoa, whoa. So that was cool. If you haven't seen it yet, check it out before it leaves theaters. It's fantastic.
So actually, I do have a question about that. So actually, like, things actually died. There was like a sense that something could happen to a character that would, in some permanent way, damage them.
Yeah, totally. And a lot, like, several minor characters. You saw one minor character who was like a bit of like the prick cop, not like a corrupt evil cop who you were just like, oh, that person, but the guy who was kind of a prick. There was like one nice genial cop character who was like, oh, you rapscallions, because they're all criminals, and that cop was like, you guys shouldn't be doing that. And then the other cop was like, no, like, I'm going to put you in jail, da da da. But then that guy ends up helping them stave off an alien invasion, and then you see him crushed to death by a falling spaceship. Like, you see him crushed, and you're just like, whoa!
And he doesn't come back, and he's like permanently dead?
He's dead. He's dead.
Oh, that's great.
I know.
Like,
that's why I hated the Avengers.
Is this something like, this is a thing, really? You're permanently dead as opposed to just dead? Like,
right.
Like, it sounds like a soap opera.
Yeah,
that's like my problem with that's why I hated the Avengers. It's because not for a single moment of that movie did I feel like any of the characters was remotely in danger.
Well, except for Coulson. I mean, the guy who...
But who the hell is Coulson?
Coulson's the guy who Loki stabbed through the back that, like, made them all... I mean, I know he's not important, but I'm just... I mean, he is important, and now he's back in Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But the point is...
Garrett, you're all right.
But that's very comic books. That's very, very in keeping with the Marvel comic book universe. Speaking of which, Thor's a woman now. That's an interesting thing. I wonder if they're going to reflect that in the movies. I have a lot of opinions on it that are not appropriate necessarily for this show. But
I'd be interested in hearing them.
Now I want to know what those are. Garrett.
Well, no, I mean, it's just like it's not that they're inappropriate. It's just like they're not, like, for example, like,
well seated.
Well, just like one example is that it's an entirely appropriate choice, considering how many of the Norse gods that we never hear about were women, and how also, like, Viking women formed like 50% of their fighting force and everything. So when Marvel did that, and people were like, "That's BS. Nobody did da da da," and it's like, no, look at these facts. You see these facts? See, these actually make sense within that context. And they're like, well, the comics have never done it before. And they're like, yeah, but the comics also used to be incredibly racist, and I don't think we should go back to that either. So, I'm just saying. Anyway, we should kick on to the rest of general news. Michelle?
Oh, fine.
Yes. All right. Wow, that was, I mean, you almost opened a can of worms. I was almost excited about that, but not quite. Okay, so Radius, a distributor after my own heart, has regularly revealed its VOD features since last fall, which I think is amazeballs. The company, it followed John Sloss's example after he showed everybody their VOD numbers for Escape from Tomorrow, and basically, like, challenged other companies to spill the beans, show us what's going on. But no other company but Radius has responded to Sloss's call to consistently reveal not theatrical grosses, but they stepped up to the plate, which I think is awesome. Anyway, so I figured we've been talking about like Bong Joon-ho's Snowpiercer like incessantly, largely because like Chad is like obsessed with it, but whatever.
And because I keep making dirty jokes about it. Dirt fucker.
I know. Oh, clamsheller. Whatever. Anyway.
Grass humper.
Hatchet wounder. Anyway, so we should say that, so thanks to Radius's kick-assness, the film has brought in, and we know this, a combined box office of nearly $11 million from on-demand and theatrical revenues. So I think it's pretty freaking good. I just think it's really interesting. It's really fun, and I feel like
Here's what I want to know.
What do you want to know?
How much of that went back to the filmmakers?
Yeah, good question.
Oh, that is a good question, actually. Do we know? I'll look up Radius's.
How much?
I'll look up Radius's payment rates while you carry on.
Yeah. And he's gone. Anyway, that is a good question. I'm assuming they're putting that information out too. What's weird is I keep getting darker and lighter and darker and lighter. I can't ever light myself well.
I'll teach you some things after the show. There's a thing you can do to make it so that your camera stops shifting, so that you can set up your lights, then set your camera settings, and it won't keep adjusting every time the lights change slightly, or like the sun goes up or comes out from behind a cloud. But anyway.
Good to know.
So Sam, you have a general news item. I'm very curious what this is, because the only thing you wrote in the box is "I woke up today." So I want to know: is this like a major achievement? Is this a change from everyday life?
Well, Garrett, I feel like anytime anyone wakes up, and chooses to carry on with their life, it is a bit of an achievement.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all should get participation awards for life. But the main reason that I have that as my second news item is because this is my first time on the show, and I only saw the first news item, and then 2 minutes before we went on air, I was like, oh, I have to put something here. So, in order to not hurt the show, I'm going to say that I woke up today, and we're going to throw it to Garrett's next news item.
Are you serious right now?
Yeah, no, that was legitimately.
Oh my
as an actor, as a director, I would ask you, Sam, where did you wake up?
Oh, not in my apartment,
You
actually.
have to think about it.
I did not wake up in my apartment today.
Really? Was it indoors?
I woke up indoors.
Oh, good. Were you alone?
No.
Oh, excellent. Were you
I feel
close?
like maybe we should cut this line of questioning before we get into dangerous territory. So
So lesson learned. You don't bring your segment. You open it up to personal questions.
I do want to talk about Thor, the female Thor. I'm not going to lie.
We can spend your segment time talking about Thor.
All right. I have a follow-up to the female Thor point.
Yes.
I think it's a stupid idea.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
So, basically, I don't have a
No, I'm
problem.
talking about the comics, not the movies, right?
Yes, I know.
Okay. Okay, good.
I'm up on these news. I'm not,
All right.
I mean, but first off, there we go. There's an issue there. Is like, why would it be the comics and not the movies? Why is there a male Thor in the movies and a female Thor in the comics?
Oh, because they're not
stupid is that?
concurrent, timeline-wise. They're not concurrent at all. Like, the storyline...
You don't think it's a problem with the brand? There's 9 million superheroes. Can't you just have the same superhero in your comic and in your movie the same gender?
No, I don't think that affects it at all, because what's happened... Like, for example, Captain America... when the first Captain America movie came out, Captain America was dead. He came back shortly after the Captain America movie came out because
But he was still a man, right?
Yes, he is still a man. But
Okay.
when the Amazing Spider-Man film came out, Spider-Man was the Spider-Man mantle was assumed by a new character who was black. But it has nothing to do with the film. Like Spider-Man, I forget if he died or he got sent to an alternate dimension, but somebody else acquired spider powers, and it was a black guy, and the comic book world was all like, rah, 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 because, whatever. But then he was Spider-Man for a while, and then Peter Parker found his way back to life or our plane of reality, and he took the mantle back. It's like all kinds of crazy shit.
Also, Greek mythology, Thor's a guy there as well. So
yeah, that's true.
I have major issues with like the superhero they chose.
Actually, sorry, I need to jump back one quick moment. Greek mythology, Thor doesn't exist. Norse mythology,
You
Thor
are correct.
is a dude.
You are correct, sir. You are correct, sir.
All right.
That is, I got my mythology. Yeah, but anyway, in Norse mythology, Thor's a guy.
Yes. But also in Norse mythology, the way that Thor works in the comics is not the way that he works in the comics. Like claiming accuracy to the original storyline. Like in Norse mythology, Thor never battled alien invasions from Super Skrulls who could assume the identities of.
Yeah, but I think you're missing the point though, Garrett, which is that like, of all the superheroes to pick for that, like why that one?
Why somebody who
Why
has
not?
a historical basis? Well, see, the reason that the reason that he is actually easier than most other people is that the way Thor works in the comics is that whoever is worthy of the mantle can pick up his hammer and gets his powers. And in Norse mythology, there was nothing. Like he had the hammer and that was his weapon. But the way that they have it work in the comics is that like 5 different dudes have been Thor, and it was just whoever was worthy at the time to hold the hammer. And in fact, interesting trivia point, which doesn't matter to the discussion, but is just fascinating. One time Captain America lifted the hammer a couple of inches, but couldn't lift it any higher than that. But because he was so true to the Norse warrior spirit and was such a pure soul, he was once able to move it, when even, of course, the Hulk has never been able to lift the hammer, because you can't move the hammer if you're not worthy of the power. So anyway, but the point is that like 5 different dudes have been Thor, and the most recent one decided to quit. He was like, I'm done being Thor. I hate being a superhero. Blah blah blah. So the hammer was like left in this field in the middle of nowhere.
And based on that, actually, I have less of an issue. I've just been educated.
It does. It does kind of make more sense. Yeah.
But what I would insist on is that A, they stick with this for a little while, and B, if they do another Thor movie, it should be the girl.
Well,
woman. It should be the woman.
Or the woman. I'm sorry.
Okay. Mythologically, Thor also has been associated largely with fertility. So I think it's a great choice for
He's
Thor
also
to
had
be
sex
a
with
woman.
swans. I doubt they're going to put that in the comics or the movies.
Maybe. You never know. But I do think the superhero world is vastly devoid of an equality between like male and female representation. So I think it's great. I mean, like, how many, I'd say probably the ratio of male superheroes to female superheroes is probably 6-to-1 in general.
Although, question, what is the ratio of male to female comic book readers?
It's not even close. It's about 43% female. So they're definitely doing a big disservice in that vein. And actually, BuzzFeed just did a really hilarious video about girls in comic book stores and like the way they're treated. And it's definitely, I have experienced it myself, going with female friends to comic book stores and everything. It's quite a funny video, in that it's disturbingly accurate. But we should move on. This is a general news segment, and we've spent far more than the allotted 3 minutes on it.
Oh, Sam, you're screwing up the podcast.
No, he's doing great.
I'm a guest. I'll be gone in a week.
To be totally you'll be here next week. To be totally fair, Sam has spoken less than either one of us. So if anybody's messing up the podcast, it's me. But I do talk forever. So I will talk about a film that I've never heard of before I was checking out film news this week. It's called The Identical. Have you heard about this?
Mm-mm.
Okay. It has a 4% from critics on Rotten Tomatoes.
Whoa.
So that's not good. And it has like a 54% from audiences. It's not getting well loved. Here's a few of the problems that I see, not having seen the film, but just checking out the poster and the synopsis. The main character in the film is is played by Blake Rain, an actor who I'm not familiar with, but I know I have seen in various things. He is, for some reason, listed 5th in the film's credits on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes, and he's also the smallest person on the film's poster, which tries to pull in audiences with side characters played by people like Ray Liotta and Ashley Judd and Seth Green. But those characters, being side characters, had like 10 to 15 minutes of screen time each, and meanwhile we're focused on this guy Blake Rain, who like is not a draw.
Who also he has, I just IMDb'd him. He quite literally has nothing but the film The Identical.
No.
Not even some stupid web series. Not
oh
even
well, then he looks a lot like somebody else. Because when I saw his face, I was like,
he
oh,
looks
this
like
guy's
like one of the guys on Ring of Fire.
okay.
I
Well,
think. But no.
But secondly, I don't know if you're seeing this on your page yet, Michelle, but the film is about Elvis. It's blatantly about Elvis,
Yeah.
and yet it's not. The main character isn't Elvis, but it's supposed to be. He looks exactly like Elvis, but he's not Elvis. So here's the deal. In real life, in the actual world, Elvis Presley had a twin brother who was stillborn. So the film is like...
He wasn't.
Right. The film is what if his twin brother wasn't stillborn, and what if Elvis had a twin brother all his life? So it's about this guy, Blake Rain, playing a guy who goes on to become a super successful rock star, and another twin brother who never does anything with his life and like is interested in music but doesn't actually get into the music industry and is like destined for the ministry. But they couldn't get the rights to use Elvis's actual name or any of his music, so they created a totally new story about a rocker going through Elvis's life parallel.
Wow.
And looking exactly like Elvis, but while having a twin brother. So somehow this disaster in the making got a $32 million budget when you include marketing. Hollywood, please give us a chance. I have a book called Rebel Yell. You'd love it. Like, come on.
I mean, I think largely they
terrible.
got the money from the names, but
Sorry?
still. I said I'm guessing the names helped them a lot. Ashley Judd, Seth Green,
Ray Liotta. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because everyone's going to movies because Seth Green and Ashley Judd is in them.
I know. See, that's the thing. It's like we've got big name stars, but there's a difference between a big name star and a draw. There is a draw to certain people, and then there's like, oh, that guy, and it's like, oh, I'm glad to see him getting more work, but they're not the reason you go and see the movie. There's a big difference there.
Yeah, we're talking about something that's like truly ridiculous in films, which is the idea that people go and attend movies because anyone outside of like 6 people is in them.
Right. Exactly.
No one bothers.
Right. Exactly. Like, I'll go see every single Robert Downey Jr. film to the end of time.
The irony of this is that people will invest in movies with the idea that they think that, oh, someone's a name, well, that's worth some money. It's not worth anything. It's not worth like $1.
Right. And the thinking is that, oh, well, clearly in this example, Ray Liotta has been in the industry for years. He knows what he's doing. This must be a good film. I don't know much about film, but he clearly does. He's an actor. Like, I'm sorry, he does not. He does not.
Whoa,
what?
Really?
What?
Those words just came out of your mouth. He's an actor. He doesn't know about film.
He is an actor.
He is an actor. Actors do not always know. Actors do not always know. Some actors are really good at picking projects, but I would say that some actors have people who are really good at picking projects, because if you devote yourself so fully, completely to being this, like amazing, awesome actor who gets tons of work, it's very hard to also constantly keep your finger on the pulse of like what's actually working in the industry. And once you get to a certain level of success, you don't need to anymore. You pay people to do that for you.
And a better indicator, I think a better indicator of whether a movie is worth seeing is not based on a single actor, it's based on multiple actors. So if I will typically go, like, we'll call it the True Romance corollary or something. There's not a single person in that movie, aside from Brad Pitt, who was not a star at the time, that you would say, and James Gandolfini, who was not a star at the time, where you would say, I must see this person in this movie. But when you go and look at the laundry list of cast members of that movie, you're like, okay, someone fucking figured this out. Somebody knows what is good and what is not. When I look at this murderer's row of cast in this, I would go see this movie because of the list of names that are in it, not because of any one single person.
Totally.
Yes, but I mean, you look at things that are like, forgive me, but like significantly subpar, like The Expendables 3, that have like a laundry list of has-been stars that are living their lives.
Well,
The Expendables is not.
The first one wasn't bad.
No. Hold on. The Expendables, in terms of a quality film, has been bad from the beginning, and they've never marketed themselves as anything else. That's the key. The Expendables is like, hey, audience, you're gonna watch a bunch of 80s action film stars who don't do anything anymore get into firefights and blow shit up with a bunch of cheesy one-liners.
It proves my point, though, because any one of those people were in that movie, you wouldn't have gone to see it. Right. But because all 15 were, you went.
And it did really, really well on the box.
Because it doesn't mean that it's an actual good film.
No, but
it means you're more likely to go.
No.
Yes,
You're both missing the point. You're missing the point. There's a difference between a good film and a film that makes money. Witness, we're still watching Transformer movies. Like people think that if an actor wants to do a film, it's a good investment. That's where we started talking off. An investment. It might be a good film, but it might be a terrible investment. Like because it's not going to do well, it's not marketed well, it's not distributed well, or you could read a really good script, but because they're too focused on money, they try to get big name actors or actors who have some sort of draw or pull or 5 million followers on Twitter, but they don't. The movie just doesn't do well because they're bad actors, so it pulls the thing down. It's a complicated web of shit. Like it really, really is. And this one, all of this. Sorry.
Nothing.
So we're going to get you a podcast microphone. This is happening. I'm tired of this.
All right, let's get into the main topic. Speaking of Michelle, you're up first.
Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with this website app thing called Movidium. Have you guys seen this?
No, I have not.
It's so awesome. You have to go to movidium.com. I'm obsessed. Okay, it's a new site, app, whatever stuff, and it connects filmmakers and brands and agencies and companies looking to have stuff made. So basically you like create a profile as a filmmaker or as a brand, and then it's like LinkedIn for filmmakers. So it's amazeballs. Oh, whatever, LinkedIn, whatever. But just so they don't screw it up, I have their blurb. Here's their blurb, verbatim. Movidium is a global creative network that connects filmmakers with brands and agencies who are looking to collaborate on film projects, potentially making the process of finding work, hiring talent, and getting paid more streamlined and efficient. Dude.
Cool.
Sign me up, yo.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
So does
I don't know
it
if
work?
it works. I don't know. I haven't uploaded a profile or anything, but it looks awesome. And they have, it's all there. They have a payment system attached to the site. They have to-do lists, timelines, call sheets, and like lists of projects you've done. And like then they'll like upload the things that you've done to show other people. So it just kind of like folds in on itself. It looks totally legit. So it just launched, I'm pretty sure. And I went on it like yesterday. So that's it. It's movidium.com. It looks really awesome. And it's a really clean, beautiful website. But here's the question. Like, I feel like Movidium is like ushering in like a new set of like open lines of communications between like ad agencies, companies, and filmmakers, and putting them together. And there's no real middleman. So I don't know. I just want to know what you guys think about it, how it affects like the industry as a whole. I mean, it's literally like bringing opportunities to our living rooms. So,
yeah,
I don't know.
I am ill-qualified to talk about this because I'm not big on the whole branded content scene, by which I mean I'm not particularly looking to pursue it, and also I know nothing about it. I have never done anything with it. So, but the thing is that I know people that are really fucking smart with that kind of thing, and that seems
know
like
a
just
couple things about this.
so
This is in my wheelhouse, guys.
Sam hit it.
So in terms of all of that, we will see. Because here's what you need to know about branded content and brands. Most likely, the way I see this working is that the little guy is going to manage to get screwed at the end of the day, no matter what happens. That's usually the way this goes. But I think things like this will allow the little guy to become a bigger guy. And I think will
While
be
they're
this.
getting screwed.
Yeah. No, I mean it's
Okay.
the way it goes. Because think about it, right? By little guy, I'm talking about. I think what it's going to allow is people who have developed audiences, which is I think something you guys talk about a lot, and Chad Kukihiko, if he was here, would be talking about. If you've developed an audience, it will be probably something like this. I doubt it will be this thing, but it'll be something like this that will allow you to connect with a like-minded company. And basically, what needs to happen is you need to find a way to become the established leader in your field or a leader in your niche, and then you can connect with a company that wants to advertise on your product. That's the way these things are going to work, and that's the way this is going to happen.
That's one thing I'm actually talking about in my main topic, but it's like it's totally applicable to this. It's just that whole expert.
So, for
label.
instance, you guys had Chris Fenwick on the podcast a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Here's something you should know about Chris Fenwick. The way that I know Chris Fenwick is through his other podcast, FCPX Grill, that I've been a guest on a couple times. And he has a company, Premium Beat, that sponsors, his podcast. And Premium Beat, sells music tracks, downloadable music licenses, and their market is editors. And Chris Fenwick has a really popular podcast amongst a certain subset of editors, which means that it's a really smart advertising buy for Premium Beat.
Right.
And it's a win-win there. And I think it's things like this that will allow companies probably to hit or to make it easier to hit niches as opposed to firing out a whole bunch of money in some commercial that no one's going to watch. That your entire audience. This is the ironic thing about commercials is that these retarded corporations spend millions upon millions upon millions of dollars based on Nielsen numbers that are completely irrelevant and archaic. And the true irony of it is anyone that they'd actually want to advertise to has a built-in functionality to skip their advertisement.
Right.
It's about the world's dumbest system.
Yeah, it's definitely true. It does sound great for certain niche marketing opportunities. I mean, I guess we need to know exactly more details on how it works. It seems like it's got potential, but like Sam, I'm a little wary. But then again, I don't know Jack, so I don't know Jack about this, and it's not.
Well, in the branded content world, also, there's a lot that people should know that they really don't know, which is that in order to get branded content sponsorship and things along those lines, in a lot of cases, I mean, the advertising business is a really, really dirty business. In the sense that you have a lot of people who don't do anything who all try and justify their existence to their corporate bosses, which means they need to be able to point to real numbers,
right.
Which means that you need to. So, for instance, I used to work at a company that specialized that did branded content.
If we could keep this story relatively brief, it would be fantastic because we've gone.
Okay, long story short.
Okay.
Company spends a few $100,000 on branded content. Maybe 10% of that goes into the actual creation of said branded content.
Mm-hmm.
About 70% goes directly as purely profit. Another 30% goes out to someone in Eastern Europe who is going to manufacture hits for branded content to give numbers back to ad agency.
Wow.
So basically, it's like an auction where you can auction views. So no one's watching any of this stuff. And yet people are paying lots of money for it so they can tell their bosses that someone watched it.
Right.
Right. Wow.
That's fascinating and extremely heartbreaking, and one reason why I don't particularly want to get into that field. But it's an interesting thing. Michelle, I hope you will keep an eye on that and let us know
Oh, I'm on it. Yeah.
going forward. Sam,
That is
you've
a
got
great movie.
Sam, you've got a main topic. You want to tell us about that?
Well,
I know this is
more of a
something.
question.
Yeah.
It's more of a question, which is
Step
what
up
I'm.
on your soapbox, Sam Messman.
Well, it's not really a soapbox. I mean, I guess my question is
It's
what
not a soapbox if you're right.
what I wrote about this in my column last week, I guess, but my real question is, what purpose do film festivals serve for filmmakers in this day and age?
Right. Is that
And
you just
so
asked
I'm curious. I'm going to ask the question, and then I can get up on my soapbox, because like I would love to know one thing, because I mean, you guys have probably seen this, right? Everyone, like, if you talk to anyone at We Make Movies, and they're like, I'm going to make a short, and they're like, usually just to amuse myself, my first question is like, all right, well, what are you going to do with it when you're done? And they're like, well, I'm going to submit it to festivals and kind of see what happens there, and all of that. And, oh, my dog is back in, and I'm kicking her out.
fantastic.
So, but my real question is like, okay, so what is that film festival when you submit? Say you even get in. Say you hit the lottery after you spend $50 and get in.
Right.
What do you get when you get into the festival? Can anyone answer that for me? No, just in general. I've never gotten a good answer.
Well, it's visibility.
Visibility to who? The people in the theater who you can't sell your movie to after that? Because they've already seen it?
Well, I think it's buying a lottery ticket that you potentially will win the festival. Once you win one festival, you basically are automatically accepted into every other festival. You don't have to pay for it.
Well, depending on the festival.
All depending on the festival, most festivals. But like if you say you win,
if you win Sundance, you can get into any of the mom and pop.
Yes, Sundance, you can get into anything. But still, like, then you're into every other festival, and then you become, like, a known filmmaker. And then, like, if you want to potential financial backers, I mean, that is a law that you can use to raise money for future projects, A. And B, it is... I don't know a lot about distribution, but I'm assuming that there is. I have a friend whose film was in a festival that got distribution from the festival. So yes.
The festival distributed the movie?
No, someone from the festival distributed the movie. So it was at the festival.
Okay, well, I'll speak to personal experience. This was my personal experience with film festivals. We made a feature film a few years ago called How I Got Lost. And we got into like 1 million festivals. We won a whole bunch of awards. Here's the thing that I realized at our big LA premiere. We were sitting there in a packed theater. Probably about 300 people were in attendance for this movie. And by the way, we did get distribution for this movie. So distribution is a whole other relative concept. But we got distribution. And the question is, how much of that money goes back to the people who invested in it? And at what point does the pie get distributed back to the people who had anything to do with the movie? And I do know that sitting in this film festival where 300 people sat and watched this movie that the festival had no hand in making, guess what? We paid $50 to put on a screening to 300 potential customers, and the end net result of money that came back to the filmmakers and the investors involved was $0. I think that's bullshit.
I would be inclined to agree with you. I am not a festival enthusiast myself. I think that the majority of festivals in the world also the big ones too, but in a different way, are very political. It's all sort of like, if for example, I have no question about whether my film will be accepted to the WMM Fest yearly film festival. So I'll definitely put my film.
You never know. We turned down a lot of people this year.
Yeah, but guess what was our entry? What was our entry fee?
Yeah,
and
that's
your
great.
entry fee was the entry fee is nothing. But even if it was like to cover costs, we want $50. I would have no problem with that because I know. But I'm not expecting to get anything out of it. It's a cool experience. And if I happen to be traveling to Austin, and I knew somebody on the board of South by Southwest, and they were like, "Hey, do you have anything that you want to put in the thing? I mean, we'll accept it if you pay the thing." I totally do that because it's cool, but not because I would never. I have no interest in festivals or even trying to get. I mean, I'm planning on building a film career on self-distribution, just like I'm building a book career on self-distribution. That's just me, but like I think that it's all built on a model of seeking approval of people who will give you money, which is totally fine. A lot of people want to do that.
Rarely
I'm not one of
effective.
those people. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, also I think there are a lot of actors that are actor filmmakers, and I think getting into a festival, I do know a few other people who have written a film, produced it, starred in it, it's gone to a festival, and then they have gotten some great representation and thus jobs out of that as an actor.
Yeah, and I mean that's cool. Like, and if somebody wants to do that, then great. I think I agree with Sam's point that you're buying a lottery ticket to get another lottery ticket. Like, first of all, you might not be accepted. If you are, the odds of something happening to you that's going to be a significant step forward are again pretty slim. Probably the odds are slimmer of being accepted than they are of something good happening in the festival once you're in, but they're still pretty slim. I mean,
Yes, so we're all going to concur, though. There is a percentage of a chance that something good is going to happen from entering
Except
into
that
a
much of that
festival.
is also pay to play because if you want to
Of
make
course.
Sundance work for you, okay, say you even get into Sundance, say you hit the lottery and like your random podunk movie from wherever gets into Sundance and you get to go.
Did you just call my movie Podunk?
I
Well, not yours,
think he's
but
speaking to the general you.
the general, the royal we. Um,
Yeah.
let's just assume that like your magical amateur movie where because I'm talking about the person who has no connections to the film industry, who's like the dollar and a dream person, right? So let's say that their movie gets in. Here's what they don't tell you when you get into Sundance is that A, you'd better have some connections if you want anyone from the industry to actually show up and watch your movie. B, you better
I
have a
beg to
promotion
differ.
and advertising budget when you go out there so that you can capitalize on some of these things and get into a room with the money person and actually sit down and get some of these people to come. C, even if you get distribution, likely that will not cover the amount that it costs to actually make the movie. D, if you do get distribution and they're going to pay for that amount, you're going to need certain marketable names that are marketable to foreign territories, which is often where the money is going to come back to your film. There's a whole formula they have in terms of names that computes out to this. We can give you this amount of money for your film. So at the end of the day, if you have zero understanding of any of this concept and you show up with no marketing budget, no press person, no concept of how to make your film work at a festival, you're screwed.
Well, you're also just dumb. I mean, here's the thing. It's like you,
Yes.
yeah, of course. Well, yes, of course, but I think that still, like the festival circuit is a tool for those who are educated, those with taste, and those that have a good film. I mean, it's like auditioning for a Broadway show. If you just show up to an open call and like randomly hope that you maybe are going to you're going to be amazing, then your chances are of getting the job are slim to none because you don't know what you're doing generally, and you probably don't know anyone that is auditioning you or anyone that is going to be there. But like the more prepared you are, the better of an artist you are, the better your art, whatever. And the more connections you have, the more you can build on those connections and
So,
make something out of it. So
We should wrap up soon. We can keep going,
but
but soon.
okay, so the flip side to that though is that like you're equating that like these people who are selecting these things actually have good taste. For the most part, they don't. I think we can all agree that most Hollywood stuff is terrible. So by
art
that
is
point,
subjective.
oh yeah,
I mean,
the podcast we get to have opinions. My opinion is that most of the stuff is trash. So anyway, what my point of view is simply like I think as opposed to buying lottery tickets, I think you're much better off in terms of visibility, continuing to make content and distributing that content, even if it's for free, to as many eyeballs as possible, and investing in your own distribution mechanism as opposed to trying to hop onto someone else's that is generally giving diminishing results with increasing amounts of competition. So I think going and putting a small amount of money into YouTube and eyeballs and giving people a chance to become recurring audience members to your content is a much better lottery ticket / investment in your talent than buying the lottery ticket and hoping that you get into some festival and some mythical producer and investors that are going to come and do this whole song and dance for you.
All right, Sam Messman, ladies and gentlemen. He will be. You can read more on the WMM on WeMakeMovies.org, where Sam will be writing his columns. And more. You already have an article up about film festivals, right, Sam?
Yes.
So I
put a little column up last week, or I think it's called "Why Film Festivals Suck and How to Make Them Better," and then I put a little blog up there last week as well. Anyway, excellent. I'm not a huge fan.
Yeah. Very clear on that.
We love opinions here on the podcast.
So check it out. It's over at WeMakeMovies.org. I will wrap up with my main topic, the last one of the day. So, and this speaks to both what Sam's been saying about film festivals and what Michelle was saying about Movidium and finding branded content and whatnot. So one very important thing in building your career as an indie artist that we have brushed on in the show, but you can't really talk about enough. Whatever your artistic medium is, whether you're a filmmaker or an author or whatever, is building your authority in something. Sam is an excellent case study in this. He is one of the reigning authorities on Final Cut Pro X. He just happens to know every crapping thing about that program. I don't know how much I can say about how much you know and why you know it, Sam, so if you want to elaborate at all, can you? No?
Well, I can tell you about how some of those things happened and how that worked for me and things that I did, but you know.
Well, I mean, basically, Sam's got a series out on the web called FCP Works, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's my other company. That's how I make my living, and it's not my company, but it's where I work, and and that's. We do certain things, and we've been able to monetize and build an audience.
Right, and you guys are, I mean, like, that's where you go if you want to learn how to use the Red camera with Final Cut, and it's where you go if you want to learn how to do multicam and use proxy footage and maximize your background rendering and every freaking thing. I only know how to use Final Cut X because you guys and your website and everything is where I learned. Like FCP Works, that's where I learned how to do it all. In another sphere, in another industry where I work very heavily in self-publishing, three guys who are now my friends started the self-publishing podcast. It's now one of the three biggest podcasts on self-publishing. In fact, it might be the biggest, but the three biggest ones work together so often and so closely and everything that they don't even like compare dicks anymore. They're just like, yeah, we're all doing a big project together and whatever. They became reigning authorities on self-publishing, and hundreds of thousands of people have listened to and downloaded their episodes and everything. And they're the dudes, and I'm lucky to be working with them. In fact, I've got a new video tutorial series coming out on their YouTube channel because that's my niche. That's where I happen to be skilled. So they were like, you should do tutorials for us, and I was like, absolutely. And that is my in that industry. That is my attempt to establish my own authority on the how-tos, because I know how to. They don't format their own books. I format their books because I'm freaking awesome at that. They don't do a lot of things on the back end and with metadata. I do, or I developed the methods that they use, and so like I'm building my authority in that sphere. And when people in self-publishing know me, they know me as that guy. Like they know that I know how to do those things, and they know that the self-publishing podcast knows how to actually like market your book. So the point is, everybody has the one thing that you, or maybe multiple things, but that you are better at than most people. For Sam, it's you happen to be better than most people at using Final Cut X. Obviously, there's the guys who developed the fucking program. They probably know it even better than you do, but like they also talk to you. Like you go to conferences and you are able to talk to these people because they know that you are better than most people at it. You know, and maybe better than most people. I mean, I don't think that's too strong a statement on the state of humanity in general. But definitely better at Final Cut than most people. You know, Michelle happens to be really freaking good at yes. Well, that was unexpected. No, but
you know what? I bet you could market that skill.
Yeah.
Sure.
Michelle happens to be really good at public relations and marketing and exposure and all that sort of thing. So she's like,
public
you know,
relations.
She's publicity. Michelle, you're making this.
How do you think she got good at marketing, Garrett?
Oh, God.
Ow.
So she's very good, and she's our PR director and whatever. But whatever it is, if you can turn that into your thing, if you can build your authority on that thing in whatever your industry or art form is, not only do you get out there and you build an audience amongst other people who are working in your industry, but they want to collaborate with you. And that's the true value, because if you're a filmmaker, it's less monetizable to make films for other filmmakers than it is to make films for people who love watching films. Just like writing books for other writers. Like, writers are the worst friggin' audiences in the world. They don't want to pay for books, and they don't want to spend a whole lot of time reading how to write. They want readers. They want to read, you know. So, like, trying to market to other people in your industry has limited usefulness. But if you can work with them, you guys can join your audiences together. It helps you collaborate a lot more. We talk about how to collaborate. We talk about how important it is to collaborate on this show all the time. You've got to collaborate on YouTube. You've got to collaborate on film projects and promotion and all that sort of thing. The best way to find people to collaborate with is to be an authority in something in your field, because then people want to work with you. So that's advice for the week. Find that thing that you're better at than most people, turn that into your authority subject, and then market the crap out of it and use it to collaborate with other filmmakers or whatever artists in whatever medium you're working in.
Could not agree more, Garrett.
So there.
Huzzah. All right. Hey, the first non-controversial topic we've touched on this show.
Woo-hoo!
So we'll end off, as always, with things to know. Michelle, your box is blank, but I bet you've got something inside it.
My box is never blank, baby. No, I just have to tell folks again, remind them about I'm doing a Kickstarter for Garrett's film because I think it's amazeballs. It's called Unsaid, and it is go to Kickstarter.com and look up Unsaid the film. We're currently at $1,780 pledged of our $3,000 goal, which is really exciting. But we only have 16 days to go, so hop on there. We have a lot of really cool prizes or incentives, but most of all, it's just a film looking to I really wanted to gain awareness for grief counseling centers around the country. So film with a cause. So if you're interested, we'd love for you to throw some money our way. Every dollar counts. And yeah.
It would mean quite a lot.
Yes.
Sam, VHX TV, what does that mean? Tell us.
So it's something, they have an interesting model. There's a lot of self-distribution sites where you can put up your content and basically sell it, you know. But this one is interesting because what's really interesting about it is that its affiliate model is really solid, where you can basically, you know, you can give certain points or a certain amount of money to people who go out and sell copies of your movie for you. So for instance, if you made an independent film, you can assign some of the actors and people involved with it a certain percentage of and have them go out and sell to their audiences. So in many ways, like you were stating earlier, Garrett, is teaming up with people to help distribute. This actually gives people an incentive to do so for your content, which I think is something that a lot of independent filmmakers and content creators struggle with, which is figuring out how to make it worth your while for other people to come in and push your content as well.
Right.
So it's something worth looking into.
Like the Stella and Dot of the film industry, yes?
Yeah, it's the Amway of the film industry.
The Mary Kay.
But it incentivizes your sales force, which I think is actually really important because many content creators are good at making the content. They're not good at selling it. And there are many people who are not good at making content, but are extremely good at selling it. And it's like the whole tipping point, Mavens, connectors, and all that other crap thing. And I think this is the type of model that is where things are heading. So while it may not be the one that wins, I think it's a sign of intelligent distribution and the way things should be headed.
Huzzah.
VHX.TV.
VHX.TV. My only thing to know is a quick update on next week's show. Next week it's going to be Chad, Michelle, and Sam.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't even know I was doing today. You guys didn't tell me till last night.
Oh, God. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Here's your notification. You're going to be doing next week. I will be absent. I will be speaking at and filming a self-publishing conference in Austin, Texas. I will miss you all, and I will see you when I come back from Austin. And with that, I will call an end to this week's podcast. Thank you very much, Sam, for filling in for Chad.
Thanks, guys.
I'm Garrett Robinson. You can find me at garrettbrobinson.com. Michelle is on Twitter at mlucadoo, and Sam is over at wemakemovies.org with a new weekly column you should definitely check out. We'll see you. They'll see you next week, everybody. Goodbye.